yeah. So
Yeah, let's get into the topic of
yeah.
streaming on YouTube. Let's get into the topic of lucid dreaming and experiencing lucid dreaming. I know
Let's
we've
get
had
into the topic of
Yeah.
streaming on.
oh,
Yay.
we
Okay.
good? We good?
Yes,
So
we're
it's
good.
not
We're
an
good.
echo? Okay.
No,
Good.
yeah, sorry. Fix that for a sec. But we're good.
And
Yay.
yeah, it's a very interesting topic because I know that when I was a child, I used to just daydream, but not just. I used to just take naps during the middle of the day, on
Did you
purpose.
daydream a lot in class?
Yes, absolutely.
Same. I spent my whole class period just daydreaming, and then I'd have to learn the material afterwards.
Yeah, it's daydreaming, or like, my mom would always say this joke to me, like, was it Earth to Eric, Eric to Eric. I was just out there all the time. And I think the other thing is that I, as a child, I would, if I had a dream that I liked, I would work really, really, really hard to remember it the whole day. And then around noontime when school was over, I just, as soon as my mom picked me up, we get in the car, I just nap in the car immediately so I could jump back into that dream. And I used to practice that as a kid, like over and over, because I liked being in there. It was fun for me. And then eventually I got to be able to control the kind of dream space as if I was like a director or something of a movie. Or I was, and then eventually, and then it stopped around puberty. And then after puberty, I started practicing yoga and it's qigong. But I think it was essentially once I got to yoga practice, like Indian yoga, like hatha yoga, where we do that style, was when I got back into lucid dreaming and I was able to warp the dream space. And like literally, if there was a person talking to me, the easiest thing I could do was, and I became aware that I was in the dream, is that I turned it in the person into an animal, and they were still talking, but they're an animal. And I guess the other thing was, yeah, and then being able to like, dream things onto my like my consciousness that was in the dream world if I needed something in the dream. I think when I was younger and I watched Jurassic Park, the first one, for the first time, and I've told this story before, but I think it was really, I had nightmares I was being chased by a T-Rex, and like in like a Jeep. It was in Jurassic, and then as soon, like I had the dream again, like, and then I was unsatisfied because the T-Rex like wrecked the truck, but I still survived, just wrecked the truck. And so then in the next, I like worked really hard because I was unsatisfied with what happened in the dream. And so I went back into the dream, had the dream again, and then dreamed that I had a bazooka and then shot it at the T-Rex. And then and then I was like, now I have control of the dream. It's like, this is my space. Right. And so it was just like that was like, I remember that was like I think I was like 12 or something. That's when around the time I saw Jurassic Park or something. And I had that dream. And then I've also had a dream where I was falling. You fall, like you're falling, and then I fell into my bed and I was still dreaming, and that was a dream within a dream, and I fell again. And then I woke up, and that was the weirdest feeling, where that was the first time I was in a dream within a dream. And that was an interesting feeling because you wake up and you're like, your head is sore because there was a double layer of, there was like two realities that you jumped through. And so that was a very interesting feeling. And then
It's literally like Inception.
It is Inception. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I think Inception, I'm sure the writers of Inception did some kind of similar thing, because it was literally the same feeling where it's like, oh god, like your head hurts because you're working exponentially with the other dream, and it's the stimulus is just exponential, because you're like there, you pop out, you wake up, and you're in a bed, but you're like, this is not my bed, this is not my room, and then you pop, like you wake up again and your head hurts, and it's like, and then you touch your bed to make sure that you're like, am I here, like am I in this reality right now? And so that was an interesting experience too. And I don't remember, when did I have that? That was, I think, during college. And I think I wasn't getting very much sleep. I think my sleeping patterns, was not very good. And so that's why probably my mind wandered into, somewhere else. I guess the other thing is that I had my Starseed awakening probably a week after Mother's Day last year. And that during that time, I got my first Kundalini awakening, and so there was like swirling energy around me, but like I was like supercharged, because I think I'm very fire element attuned, like very, very fire element attuned. And the activators elements were a lot of vata, or like air. And so it was kind of like I was going, like, there's this huge firestorm, and it just, fire just absorbs air and just gets bigger, right? And so I jumped from like 4th dimensional awareness to 7th. And that was kind of crazy, because I think during one of the nights I was sleeping, I jumped out of my body, and astral project, or became more aware of my astral body. It jumped out of my body for a minute and freaked out, because like when you were floating, your awareness, like you have this incorporeal body, right? Incorporeal body. So it's just like, it's like the concept of flying in 3-dimensional space it's not something that I've practiced before. So I freaked out, right? I could sense like my intangible body come out of my regular body. I looked at my other body, right? My physical body, freaked out and jumped back in. So, and I think that was one of my first times I was aware of jumping out of my body. I think other times I just expanded my astral body, and so just expanded my awareness. This is the first time where I separated the two.
Was this in a dream?
It was not in a dream. It was during my Starseed awakening. I literally I was about to go to bed, but I was already supercharged with being activated. And so I was just like, it's almost like one of the layers of reality get peeled back, and then also you become more aware of the higher functions of the human body. Like you can just I think there's this most of the times we can contain our consciousness just so we don't freak out when we grab a doorknob or something, right? Or when we touch the ground, we don't freak out, because like if we tap into our heightened awareness, sometimes many times for people, and I think this is why we have this channel, people freak out, because it's like, if you became aware of all the electrons that were vibrating while you touch something, it'd be hyper stimulating, right? For our brains, like hyper stimulating. You became aware of every single the precise amount of pressure that you needed to use to walk efficiently, that is incredibly taxing on the mind, right? And so you have to be in this, so when you're expanding to that level, like jumping out of your body, that's like, oh, I can fly now, right? Like meaning like actually fly, like, but I don't have wings, so how am I flying? And I'm moving through extra dimensional space, zooming through, but like, and like, oh, I am aware of, my awareness is now no longer with my eyes, because my eyes are closed, my body is, and it's like I'm looking at my body closed. So it's kind of like this is kind of what it's like to be a ghost. But a lot of times people don't train to hold their consciousness together when they don't have a body. So essentially it's like which is why a lot of times when people like pass on, they freak out, because it's like, oh, it's like, how do you hold yourself together when you don't no longer have a physical body? That is a question, right? And this is why we talk about alignment, we talk about yoga, we talk about energy, right? Energy just goes somewhere, right? And a lot of times, if you've ever seen a shriveled body, there's a lot of gas in the body and then eventually just shrivels, right? And if you see, there's a lot of energy that's dispersed when a body passes on. So essentially it's like I popped out of my body and I was like, I freaked out because it was disorientating. I was disoriented because it's like there's no more up or down, because it's like it's just energy. And I looked at myself and that freaked me out, because I was lying down. I popped out of my body. I was like, oh wow, this is crazy. And then I popped back in because I was uncomfortable with that, because for linear time, right? Linear time in one direction, for 34, so at that time it was 34, for 34 years, I didn't do that, or rarely did that. I may have done it, while I was asleep. And at this time I was asleep, but it's like, I'm conscious, but now I'm like, and my body's resting, my physical body's resting, but I'm looking at it. And it freaked me out a little bit, because
Yeah, especially if you're awake and it's your first time experiencing something like that. It's like you
the
don't know.
physical
It's
physical
yeah, the
body is
unknown
asleep.
is
It's a
scary.
double, it's no longer, it's not just you're awake, it's the non-duality. What I mean by non-duality, the physical body is asleep, is resting and going, "Rrr," right? And the astral body, the soul, is literally popped out and going, hi, how, like just floating around. And it's essentially, I don't know, a lot of times you can call it, oh, it's practice being a ghost. There's ghost practice, right? I think a lot of people, sometimes I see like spiritual work as it's homework for the higher dimension stuff. A lot of times I see it as that. It's just like homework. And like sometimes before people pass, they worked on that, they focused on the physical and they haven't done the spiritual homework. It's the higher dimensional work. And so people wonder, like, when people meditate, well, what, the person's just sitting there, right? No, it's not just sitting there. Learning how to, right? You're really sometimes when you meditate, you're really traveling, right?
Yeah, you're going more places than you ever could with the physical body.
You're expanding,
Yeah.
or contract, like
Manish.
expanding or contracting.
Yeah,
Because you can do both.
definitely.
But yeah, that was my experience. Like I jumped out of my body once, and it freaked me out because it was very disorienting. It was very disorienting. And then I know the more meditations I've done, I saw that some of my past lives, I'd done that all the time. But in this lifetime, it was very disorienting. It's like, oh, there's no more up and there's no more down, and the physical part of you is asleep, and the spirit side of you or the astral side of you is awake, very awake, not just awake but very awake. And so there's that dichotomy. Like how do I consciously correlate this? That was disorienting too, where a lot of times your consciousness, I'm asleep, good. In this point it was like physical body was resting and asleep and like, not moving, and then astral body very awake, very moving, floating through space, peeked out of my body, turned around, looked at my, like did a 180, looked at my body. So I perceived myself outside of myself, which freaked me out because I was never done before in this body. Then jumped back in because I was like, I'm going to bed. I can't do this. Is too much stimulus. And I think that was what, yeah. And then eventually I got more used to it. I've been practicing that more over the months, but yeah, that's kind of the experience. But thanks for the questions, because it's kind of it's interesting experience. Let's hear from other people.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I feel like it's so, especially when it's like first time, after you're like, oh shit, oh my God, like I thought I was ready for this, but maybe I'm not kind of feeling, or like it's like, okay, I didn't realize it was gonna be like this. Then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, let me jump back in. But then the more that you practice, it's like dipping your feet in like ice cold water, like getting into an ice bath or something. Like the first time is like a whole shock, you're like, what the fuck? But then, once you understand the benefits of the cold water, right, the cryotherapy and all of that, it's like, okay, I'm willing to dive in. And then you like learn to like it, and then you're like, okay, I want more. And then the other thing that with this, it reminded me, I think it was Ram Dass said something like this, of like, um, once you are able to be awake in your sleep, like when you're actually awake in your sleep, aka like lucid dreaming or astral projecting, like that's when you're actually in enlightenment or whatever, because you're fully awake. Like then you're able to access like super conscious.
I think I like lucid dream pretty often, but like every time I realize that I'm dreaming, I just wake up, I'm just like, oh, I have to use the bathroom, I have to wake up, and then I just come out of the dream.
Mm.
Or like I'm in the dream and it's like something bad is really happening to me. Then in the dream I'm like, wait, this is just a dream. I can just wake up and end this. And then I wake up. So like I think I definitely have the ability to do it. Just like every time I realize I'm dreaming, I just like end up waking up. Like either like force myself to wake up, because if it's like a bad dream, I'll be like, wait a minute, this is just a dream. Most of my dreams are like pretty, I would say they're always like, I don't know, I wake up with headaches pretty often. Like I don't have nightmares anymore, but I just have dreams that are just like, I fuck up and then everyone in my life hates me. And then I like panic, and then I realize, wait, it's just a dream. None of this is real. You can wake up now. And then I wake up and feel relieved. That happens pretty often. Or it's just like a dream of me like failing at stuff. So then I wake up with like a headache. I don't really have any good dreams. They're all just like either just like neutral or just like negative. It's kind of weird.
That's interesting. Well, I think in my 20s I actually had a very similar experience. So I think I didn't know. I think, yeah, I think your dreams are usually simulations for things. Oh, Sam went away, but it's all right. A lot of times dreams are simulations, right? Sometimes your brain runs a simulation so that you can resolve stuff. But sometimes it's just fun, interesting, great thoughts.
Yeah, I've
Clever thoughts.
definitely thought like, yeah, as dream, when you have a dream, it's like, okay, your brain is having, yeah, like that simulation of, okay, what is this scenario happening? How can I like deal with this scenario when I'm in real life? But it's like not actually real life, so then you're not in those like actual dangerous situations, you know? So then when you in real life, when you are awake, even things that are not that bad, you're dealing with them better because your like brain is like processing these kind of things. I don't know. Did that make any sense?
Yeah, no, it makes 100% sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have stress or trauma during the, stress or trauma, and sometimes, okay, so what happens when you're sleeping is a lot of times, especially when you're in REM, your body is repairing itself, right? It's taking in nutrients from when you ate and it's repairing itself, right? That's why you rest, right? Rest is very important just for the body, right? And so I think it's the same thing that happens with the mind. You had stressors that happen during the day or certain kind of stimulus that kind of, um, you know, uh, lit up your parasympathetic nervous system, right? And then the brain's like, oh, we gotta equalize you so that you can, wake up and be the best, uh, in best shape, when you're up in the morning, right? And so I think sometimes dreams are simulations, right? How can you deal with simulations related to the stressors that happen, right? Because we take in all kinds of things during the day, and I think it's so I remember going through the same things that Sam has gone through, where I realize I'm dreaming. Oh, this is uncomfortable. I just leave, right? I leave the dream, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
Right. I feel uncomfortable. I leave the dream. Then there's others. I think then that has happened a few times for me, or no, many times for me. And then I realize it's like, hey, well, these dreams are still happening. Let me actually go in the dream and just like change it a little and see what happens, right? Because it's like, okay, that's when the first step is just like avoidance, right, of the stressor or whatever that's happening in the dream. Like the next step is like, okay, I'm becoming aware of it, and it's like, okay, maybe you neutralize it, and so it's like, okay, everyone doesn't like me. I don't know, I'm stressed out, like, but you're in the dream, right? And then you're like, okay, you just walk through it, and then like you go through beginning through end, and nothing happened. Great, okay. The next one is that you actually interact with that, and you're like, hey, what do you actually think? Or what do you say? And then the next level is where you just more like the people that are screaming at you, you just turn them into bunnies or something, or you turn them into like fuzzy things or blobs, or like, this is my dream. like, or you can like turn, yeah, you just they're yelling at you, you turn them into you make them really tiny. It's like, like, like that's when, you can start. I think as an artist, I started working with that because of being able to morph dream space. And because there's like the first level is like becoming aware that you're awake in the dream. And then the next level is like you can shift the dream, like, and certain aspects of it. Right.
That's when it starts to get really fun.
Right. Cause then it's just like, and this is what I like doing when I was a teenager. I told you, like, I didn't like that. Like, I think the T-Rex chased me, right? And I saw Jurassic Park, and it was a reoccurring, like, that was like me. There's a fear, right? This ferocious big thing chasing me. I couldn't do anything about it. And then, like Sam, like before it was about to eat me, I just come out of the dream, right? I don't like this dream. I'm out of it, right? I leave, right? Like like open the door, close the door, I'm out, right? And then I think part of me is, I think even as a child, is kind of rebellious but stubborn, a little bit, like rebellious and stubborn, and being like a little competitive, like it's like I didn't like how that dream went, and so I went back in, and it's like, and it replayed again. It was in my memory, and I was like, I replayed again. So like we get in the car, like get in the Jeep. Oh no, T-Rex chasing you. And then all of a sudden I'm just like, bazooka this time, shoot the T-Rex. T-Rex no longer chases us, like, yeah, all right. And then I leave the dream, because then I'm like, I'm happy now. And now you can tell what kind of teenager I was, right? There.
I had a similar experience where like I would have this reoccurring dream a lot when I was younger, and it was like at my preschool, and this like the animal was a cow, and the cow would be the thing chasing me in circles around this tree. And I had that dream like very often. Like just me just getting chased by this cow in the playground at the preschool that I went to. But I don't think I ever just got like angry and shot it. I think I would just always just wake up once like it got intense.
Well, yeah, there's other ways that I think as a teenager, that's you know, I was around just that kind of stimulus. I think I watched like certain cartoons that, you know, people shot lasers. I watched Star Wars, you know, like that was like, okay, that was my way to deal with the T-Rex, right? Which was part of my subconscious, right? Or whatever kind of, the T-Rex can represent so many things, right?
Yeah.
And the cow represents so many things too, right? And there's so many, like, you know, there's other way you can play with the cow. You can turn the cow, you can talk to the cow and have the cow talk back to you. Like there's so many, I think, since I've expanded as an artist and a writer, I think you can use your creativity, because like it eventually just becomes your, like, you know, your movie in a way. And I don't know how else to describe it. It's like, question for everyone, because I know that sometimes, all right, so sometimes in my dream I get tactile. I can, like, my consciousness, I can feel what's in my dream. Most of the time it's just visual and audio. However, some people, their dreams, they can smell things and they can do mine's are mostly audio and visual for the most part. But how about you guys? Have you ever been able to smell something in a dream? Hello?
Okay, well, I don't know about smell. I feel like if I do, then I don't remember, or like it's not enough to have a lasting impression. But I definitely, I mean, I feel like with my experience as a dancer and a mover, like being in my body a lot in my wake life, in my dreams, I've definitely had like action. It's like I'm feel myself doing the physical things, and when I'm in the moments that I have achieved lucid dreaming, once I remember, it's like once I know that I'm in the dream, it's like, okay, I want to fly. I'm in the dream. Okay, let's fly. I love flying. It's like I'm pretty sure I was a bird in a past life. Like I really love flying. And it's like in my body, I know what it feels like. Even though I can't do it in this 3D space, like I feel the sensation in my body of doing it, but I can't I can't describe it because it's a physical sensation that I'm experiencing. Like my whole body is just like lift off, like I don't know how else to describe, but it's like I don't know, yeah, it's like not a visual thing, or it's like the visual aspect is me traveling through the space. So it's like I know that it's happening in my body. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, so do you get, I mean, so the senses that I mostly get in dreaming when I dream is audio and visual, like, and then the next one would be tactile, like touch, right? Touch, sensories, and there's definitely like the emotions around with that, like like definitely emotions are very strong. But then smell is, I usually do not get smell at all, and taste sometimes. You know, like when there's like, I don't know, I'm sure I've been in a dream and there was like dessert and I was like, oh yeah, great. Like I had like a cheesecake or something, or like ice cream or something. Like there was, or like fruit.
Yeah,
Like,
I've definitely had food in my dreams, and yeah, again, it's like it feels like a physical experience, even if I know that I'm dreaming. Like it's like in this dream space, like I get to whatever feel this, experience. But I know that it's like if I know that I'm dreaming, then it's like I know that it's not real, but I still want to experience it physically anyway.
mm,
But
mhm.
yeah, like
It
yeah,
was
I
a
don't know if
pleasurable
I
one. It was a good dream. I want to go back. I always want to. I wake up it's like, oh, like screw it, being. I don't want to. I'm going back. I
yeah, yeah,
don't want to go to work. Go back.
yeah. Or like linger, like try to like you're like, okay, my alarm's going off, but I want to like finish like basking in this for a few more minutes. Like yeah, I've definitely had
Yeah, yeah. I'm so happy that I create my own schedules now, because then I can just do that. Like I don't have to, like when there's no alarm that forces me up anymore. I don't know. I have control over my schedule, which is very different than other people. Other people have. Um, I don't know. I get to have this free artist life, which is it's cool. But it took me, it took some time for me to get that, and still, it's still rough because it's like I don't have, I still have things to do. But it was like I remember going to school, and I remember like I remember going to school. I remember in college where I had to be somewhere at a certain time, and remember being in a really, really good dream and just wanting to be late. I just wanted to, like, I don't like, I'd rather be, but like have that dream than, yeah, than to be walking and talking among. And this was before I like, was doing a lot of meditation and stuff. I was just like, ugh. It's like I want to go back. It was, yeah, that's kind of the thing. How about other people? Have other people felt? Have anybody ever tasted something like in a dream, like tasted something or smelled? I feel like smell is rare, but I don't know. That's just for me. I usually just see audio visual, and for other people, they audio visual.
Monish, I would love to hear from you, even if it's not about tasting and smelling. You're always like, I always feel like you're like processing, and then I'm so curious as what's going on in your brain.
Yeah, me too. Me too. That's why I was like, come on, Monish, say something.
But if I don't mean to like put you on the spot if you're like
I know.
still deep in something.
It's true.
They said in the chat that their family is asleep, so they can't talk.
I haven't been looking at this chat the whole time. I'm so sorry. I'm usually
Sorry. Time zones.
on
Sorry.
this. I'm usually pretty good about keeping up in the chat. Okay, oh my God. I see, I see, I see. Okay, thank you
Don't
for
have any smells.
pointing
Right.
at the chat.
Uh,
But I'm so happy you're here anyway. Thank you. I know the time.
oh, that's interesting. No, you don't have audio in your dreams, Monish. They're just visual, huh? That's very interesting.
No, I think that can't use audios just
Oh.
for
Oh, no.
right?
Oops.
Just
Never
for
mind.
the Zoom meeting.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I was like, no. I was like, what? I don't know. Sometimes yeah, I misinterpreted that. That was okay. See?
Wait,
I don't know.
wait, Neith, is that your name, Neith? Am I pronouncing that right? I always see you posting really cool things on Reddit, and I always wanted to DM you and say hi, but now is my chance to say hi. So I hope you're having a good day.
We're doing wonderful. In our dreams, we did have one where we smelled, but it was burning. We were being chased by a crowd. So it was like the smell of torches and there was blood. It wasn't a nice dream. I ended up having to fly away to escape it. More like night terrors is what I have, because I can't escape my dreams like that. Because I go from like one reality to the next and just it keeps going till I find my way back.
Thank you for sharing. I know that might be like not an easy thing to share, but I appreciate you, and yeah, I feel like I'm happy that you were able to fly out of there. And yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting to see like the intensity
Ooh,
of the
doggy.
dream. Ah, very cute puppy.
I have a friend. My friend's dog is kind of like that, but a little smaller and more crazy.
Yeah, it was interesting to see that like the intensity of the dream, there's more stimulus that comes. Like if it's if I did smell anything, if I do smell anything, it's like fire, something burning, right? Right. Where it's like it's interesting with the stimulus in the dream because it's like it's almost like the messaging system in the dream is like, oh, the reason why this sensory came up is so it can actually send you more of a message, right? And where certain ones are, it's kind of like this conversation right now, right? Certain things are muted, right? So it could be possibly like the brain mutes certain sensory things during the dream so that it can send a more powerful message in a way, right? Like the taste came up when I was like, oh, there's cheesecake. I ate like the strawberry cheesecake. And then it was like, and the interesting thing about the cheesecake, and like when I turned and looked and like I ate it, there was another one that just was there. Like I didn't like I kept eating, and it was just like it was just that was another interesting thing. It was like it was strange that sometimes in the dream world, like the physics, right, of things don't match up.
Because there's no limit, like in this awake state, we have a consensus of certain limits of like, okay, we have gravity, right? Because we experience gravity, and so that limiting belief is like locked into our consciousness. But in our dream state, we don't have that. So it's like that same thing. Like it's like you don't have the limits that you have in 3D, right? And so in in my perspective, at least right now, it's like in dream state, there's any limiting belief or like structure, right, framework in your brain is kind of like turned off, that's deactivated. So then any thought form, right, can manifest because it's all vibrational reality in the dream state.
I'm going to read off Monish's.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up because this is so interesting.
That is, yeah, because I had similar weird stuff.
Yeah.
I must have certainly smelled things in dreams, but can't remember much. I can remember a weird dream where there were clouds full of puke and the sky was going to vomit. LOL. So yeah, thanks Monish. Like that's from Monish. Like that's exactly how weird dreams can be sometimes, where it's like, yeah, there's just really strange metaphorical analogies and weird. I mean, there's talk in my dream, there was someone trying to send me a message and I just turned them into an animal and they just kept speaking, but they were still the animal, and I turned them into another animal and then they were still speaking, and there was like, they were a messenger. They're just in my dream. And I was like, he's like, you're a tiger now. You're a bull now. You're a rabbit. And they were just still like speaking in their normal voice, but they were the animal.
Oh, actually, you reminded me about some really interesting dreams that I've had recently. So Where do I begin? So the most recent one was like, um, I was like being like tortured by someone that I didn't recognize at first. I don't know what they were, but they were being tortured. And then I realized the person was me, and it like symbolized that I'm torturing myself. Like the person was like kind of hooded, and then they like took the hood off, and I'm like, wait, that looks like me. I'm like, and it's like symbolized that I am torturing myself. Um, and then another dream where I was like directly spoken to in my dream. Like I don't remember like a thing speaking to me, but I remember like the words coming. Um, and the words were like, uh, fuck, I don't remember. It was something along the same lines, but it's like, um, it brought up that I'm like, basically similar along the lines of like that I have made a lot of growth and progress. But I also am like torturing myself by continuing like the internalized self hatred and like a lot of bad habits. Like something along those lines. Like this was a few weeks ago. I should have written it down because I don't remember it that clearly, brain, which was pretty interesting. But yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
I'm
thanks
so
for
happy.
sharing.
Yeah, I feel like it's really, I'm glad that you were able to like get those messages out of those dreams because I mean ultimately it's like you you have you get what you want, or like you get what you are meant to receive from these experiences, right? Like ultimately like no one else. This is another thing to me that is like blows my mind is like no one else has the dreams that you have because you're the one creating them. And so it's like you're the only, it's like they're all like private movies or like, private simulations, which is crazy. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Um, oh, I'm so, Jasenia, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, thank you.
Thank
We
you.
love
Oh,
you.
Monish said they have to leave. Oh no, that was Neith that has to go.
Yeah,
Bye, Neith. Sorry, I got.
we love you. Thank you for joining.
So I have my next game in like 15 minutes, so I have to get going soon. But one more dream that I kind of remember that was interesting was after like a mushroom trip a few months ago. When I fell asleep,
Okay.
I had like a dream, and it was like I don't know what it was, but I was like in like some indigenous community right during the
Oh,
beginning of colonization. And I was in like a group of like people who I assume were like, tribal, like people with like importance. It was like an important meeting and discussion. And what I remember is someone pointing out like was they were in awe, like shocked by how awful like the women were treated of the colonizers. Like they're like, wow, like they were shocked by how like the women were treated. And
mm,
that was kind of weird because I hadn't really read anything on that. Like it makes sense. Like that definitely happened, but it's not something that I had read about. It's not a perspective that I've heard from yet. So I found it
mm,
interesting how my brain was able to like how I was able to dream of that. Was it like a thing from a past life or like was it like I don't know, but it was like we were in some sort of important discussion and they were just like, this is in the earlier stages of colonization because they weren't yet used to like who these like new people are. And they're just like,
wow,
wow, like their women are treated like that, like that. Like
wow.
that's what I remember.
Yeah, I wonder if it is a past life vision. It could be, but
Very much
that's
seems like it.
yeah.
Um, well, and especially, I think there's a lot of colonial settlers that actually left colonies to live with Native Americans or decided to be
They're,
kidnapped.
ta- they're talking about there's a lot of colonial who?
Colonial, like a lot of colonial settlers, they actually left like
That's-
colonies and lived with the Native Americans. Because
Can you send me some resources on that? Because that's actually one part of the dream I forgot to mention, where one of the people was like, we should like try and speak to the women of that group because they're being treated pretty badly too. And then I was like, and then I remember hearing like thinking in that dream, I was like, there were a few women who like left the colony to like live with the indigenous people, but it wasn't that large. It wasn't a significant enough number, but
right. There was
totally
more freedoms. There was more freedoms in that culture.
Wow.
Do you have any resources on this? Because it like speaks to that dream pretty well.
I think there was a few interviews on. Yeah, I think I'll send that. But there were a few interviews on things. They interviewed historians.
Ooh. I also wanted to read Monish's chat because he says it could also be the mushrooms memory, because the mushrooms have ancestors. The seeds from which they came, those ancestors must have seen the past. And so I feel like, especially if it was after a mushroom trip, like that's definitely a possibility that the memory was held in the mushrooms, which would be super crazy that like you were able to like vibrationally translate that into a memory.
That's true. It's cooler to believe though that I was like some indigenous elder in a past life though.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing. It's like the mushrooms could have also like activated these like it's like they activated these memories that were dormant before. That's what I meant. What is looking for? Yeah, like so, it's like when you're in that frequency range, right? It's like after a mushroom trip, I feel like it's like you are perceptive, right? To more of these things that like need to be unlocked. And so then you're like in this more open energy field to be able to like receive these memories or like remember these memories that you weren't able to remember before. So that's so cool.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm getting ready. I can still talk for a few more minutes, but like I have my camera off because I'm just like walking around.
Yeah, all good. We're actually gonna be wrapping up in like 10 minutes or so anyway. Yeah, 2:30. But yeah, oh my gosh. I wanted to also read some more comments from Monish. He said, yes, that came to me as such an insight on weed once. The weed we smoke today, or the plants that we use, had ancestors in which were smoked by our ancestors in history. Such a cool and ancient relationship. Yes, this is so true. Like, oh my God, yeah. Like, literally now, especially now, like, in every single, like, when I, like, smoke weed or even, like, I eat food or drink water, it's like I really do my best to try to like bring into my awareness the that like imprinting, right? It's like thank you so much for like being a part of this universe, and now I'm going to like receive you and it's going to become a part of me. Like to me that's so amazing that it's like wow, this weed is like literally becoming a part of me. The food is like literally become a part of me, and then that the memory of that is continuing to live out through my experience, which is so amazing. So thank you for sharing, Monish. Oh my God, and then the last thing I wanted to say that Monish had mentioned in the chat was the very first one. They say you can't read or write in dreams because dreaming happens in the right brain, but I can always read things. This is very interesting to me because I don't know if I've written or read or written anything, but do you? So it seems like Monish, you are able to read things. Yeah. What do you guys think?
I don't remember ever reading something in a dream. I don't know. I don't remember. Mine's are usually just audio. Mine's are very action packed. I'm doing some action. And maybe that's just me. That's my personality. Just go, right? Let's do it. Like, my dreams are very. I'm very much doing something. Whether I'm dancing, whether I'm in some kind of romantic scene, whether I'm, falling out of something, getting chased by something. or there was one where I was like morphing the dreamscape because people were chasing me. I remember there's a lot of dreams where I'm getting chased and like someone's trying to capture me.
Honestly, me too.
I don't know if it was like, and I had this simulation where it was like, okay, it was like the first, let's see, I think this was after, I think I had a yoga session and I had a cranial massage and there was this like in the third eye, boom, like we did that, right? And then the night after I just had, or the night of, right? I just had this huge simulation dream where it was like level 1. And then I literally just like someone was chasing me and I literally just like made a wall in front of them and just go, okay, I'm done. And it was like level 2. It's like I made the wall. Some of them broke through the wall. I made another wall, broke through the wall. I was like, all right, screw this. And so now I warped the dreamscape so that then I like jumped and then reversed gravity on, and then like they fell down and I just floated up and I was like, okay, level 3. And it's like, and then there was this goddess like that was, I don't know which one, but it was like, you've done this before, haven't you? I was like, yeah, I have. And then and it's like, and then that was the end of a dream. I think it was a massive simulation, but it was like the whole simulation was created by a goddess, and I was this people were chasing me, and I don't know why they were just chasing me, and I had to but that was an interesting dream that I had, and it was related to, what made me think about that? I don't remember. Being chased, yeah, I don't know. Oh, right, actions, like where my dreams are usually actions there.
Oh, yeah. And it's like I mean, I feel you about like it's like action packed. I don't know. Yeah, it's like kind of like being in a movie kind of feeling. Um, but yeah, I wonder, I'm like gonna like look out for the reading writing thing because I haven't thought about that like basically ever.
Has anyone, I mean, I started this with Kundalini partner, but it was just like has anyone ever had shared dream space? Shared a dream with someone?
Mm.
Because I have, well, first of all, I've invited another consciousness to have like a conference in the dream, and like that person is just like that person is a physical guide, but I invite them in and we have, it's kind of like this but just in the dream world, where like we're sitting, I think the easiest one was like we're sitting on a bench outside the Akashic library, apparently. Yeah, and she has this shop in front of the library, like, oh yeah, my magic shop is around there. I was like, what, really? And so we're sitting on this bench and literally we're talking, and then there's this, oh wow, it actually manifested in, okay, never mind, that was crazy. Because then recently someone asked me like, it's like, you know a lot about, like, you must really know about benches or something. I was like, what? But there's this like park or this bench that I sit at, and I talk to another person who goes to that bench, and because I drew a picture of it and like, I think, and then sent it to it, that's where we go to have conversations. It's kind of like a shared dream space, and I wanted to know if anybody else had shared dreams with someone close to them.
Oh, real quick, I just want to say, because I have to get going for my game that starts soon, but like, thank you so much. I had a good time. And you can add me to Group chat. Do you want me to here? I'm gonna put my phone number in the chat, and like you can text me, whoever in charge of making the group chat. You're on mute, Misty. Oh, Wisty.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, I'll actually email you with a link to we have like a private Telegram, so I'll send you an invite link to it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank
And thank you
you.
so much for coming. Yeah, I do want to wrap this up, but I do want to Monish was like putting some things in the chat that I wanted
All
to
right. Bye bye.
read out. Bye,
Gotta go.
Sam. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Yeah, I wanted to read this out because I felt like it's interesting. And then I want to go back to your question, Eric. But so Monish's the last lucid dream I had was Astral 2 in a weird sense. I saw myself following some guy on a wooden bridge into a castle. It was all magical, on the drawings on the tarot cards in the clouds. Then the spirit I was running after stopped and told me something and I jumped into the cloudy lake. It was pink, and I became lucid and felt my body covered and embalmed by the cloud's energy. Ooh, oh my god. How did the cloud's energy feel like?
Yeah,
This is
what did that feel like?
incredible. Magical, like, as illustrations on tarot cards. Makes
Wow.
sense. Yes, warm. Yeah, that sounds so nice. That sounds so beautiful. And then I woke up. Nice, and then I woke up. Yeah, that always happens. We always wake up.
Yeah, all the cool, yeah, during like the really climactic cool times, like, yeah, I'm flying. Then you wake up and you're like, good, go back. You're like, go back, right? It's always like that.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh, thank you for sharing, Monish. That sounds like an incredibly magical dream. Wish I could just hop in there. Oh, and speaking of virtual, astral spaces, um, in my experience, I haven't done it deliberately in like a lucid dreaming state, but I have experienced like, okay, I had this dream and you were in it, and then I told the person, and then they were like, oh my God, like you were in my dream last night, and it was like, whoa. I've definitely had that, and I've also had like awake astral connection experiences, but uh yeah, I was like, oh, it was like a meditation. Like it was like I was awake, and it was like I could feel the energy of me and like the other person, like in an energetic space, but
I want
not.
to sleep now and dream. This is literally.
That time to take a
You're
nap.
You're getting me.
Or
but it's like the
actual
middle
sleep
of
for
the
you,
day.
Monish, right?
I need to do things, but I want to dream now. Oh.
Well, I
Oh my
hope
God.
that, I mean, yeah, I loved hearing about everyone's experiences and insights, and yeah, I feel like it's inspiring me to, like seek more things out in my dream. Like I want to like look out for the reading and writing, and
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
wondering about the
interpretation
reading and
spaces.
writing now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yay. Okay, well it's 2:31. Oh my God, Monish, yes. There was a documentary that came in with my Inception DVD. In that documentary, a boy dreamed that he hangs down a hole full of snakes and rescues a person. Whoa. That is so crazy. He told this to his mom, and his mom said that she had the same dream, but she was the one who was rescued by someone.
Whoa. Yeah, see where there's like yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Where there's that hyper connection.
Yeah, that's so cool. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Well, oh my God, so much to explore. It's literally like, infinite realm with this. So,
Yeah, there's so much you can go with it. See, that's the shared dream stuff that I'm talking about, where it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had that sort of like exact lineup like that happen yet, but ooh. Okay, yeah. I think it's time. It's time to
It is,
close the
dude.
portal.
It's definitely time to close the
Yes,
portal.
but I love you both so much. Thank you so much for contributing to this conversation. It's always so wonderful to connect with you. And yes, oh, and I'm gonna put this in the group chat, but I might have to potentially change the time of this meetup, but we'll talk about it in the chat.
Okay.
So, um, stay tuned for updates and let me know actually, yeah, in the chat if you guys have a preferred, like, better time in the day. But I am being called back to work, and so this time
Oh.
is I'm like gonna be teaching exactly right at this time. So, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Yeah,
Figure out the stuff.
yeah.
But
But I'm thankful for you. And I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you have amazing dreams. And
see, I want to
yeah,
dream now. Yes.
go. Yes, go dream. Sweet dreams.
All right. Bye, y'all.
All right, love you.
Thanks for coming on.
Mhm.